Now in 2009, when I bought my Crossplane R1, brand new, I was not sure it was going to be the right bike. I, I did a lot of research at the time, and I think I lucked out because 15 years later, I still own it and I still love it. And you can join me on a ride today, just adjust your device. So looking back 15 years now, it's 15 years since I've had the R1. The day I bought it, I remember my good friend Bill saying, "You bought the wrong bike, you should have bought," and of course, maybe he was right, maybe he's wrong. We're going to find out. 15 years later, I don't know who won. Maybe he won, maybe I won. I don't know. But I know one thing. The R1 has served me well 15 years now. Now, whenever I add a bike to my collection, I try to figure out what purpose is it going to serve? What is it going to do differently than the bikes I already have? And I did not have a super bike in my collection at the time. I had bikes that did this or did that well or whatever, this size engine, that size engine, but I did not have a true super bike. And I really did a lot of research reading magazines and whatnot, and I went to the Javits show and sat on all the bikes. And when I sat on the R1 and looked at it, the styling, among other things, I knew I had to have one. Now, the problem was Motorcycle Mall didn't have them in stock yet, and then it was a month or so they only had white ones and yellow ones. I waited for a blue one. I'm so glad I waited. And 15 years later, here I am still feeding the fish. The R1 is still part of my life. It's still one of the bikes that'll scare the bejesus out of you anytime you want. I wish it had a quick shifter and a lot of safety, the ABS and everything, but you know what? I gotta go to war with the ABS I have here and the flowers I have. So I gotta pick flowers for Karen without getting stung by the bee here, because she's checking the weather and she's cooking up a storm, as she always does, and she always gives me the final weather report. I hope the clouds are gonna go away and we're gonna have a nice sunny day, but you never know. And it's cool today. It's cool for some reason. It's just a little bit cooler than it was in the last week or so. But we want to just get the radar detector on and get out on the open road. And when I first got the R1, I was thinking, well, maybe Billy's right, maybe Billy's wrong. He had Ducatis, and I never was crazy back then about Ducatis, but I looked at all the Japanese super bikes and that Javits show where you could sit on all of them. It just convinced me. And I think the biggest part was the styling too. Some of the other ones, the styling and the paintwork didn't really appeal to me. But there was something about this R1, and I don't know exactly what it is. I still don't know. Something to me that sets it apart in a crowd. And being honest, to me, the styling on this bike, I like it better than the brand new ones. The more modern they got, I think they lost that edge, whatever that is. And it's funny, one of the first things I fell in love with, even times I rode with Billy, I love the exhaust note on this bike so much better than the 1, 2, 3, 4 bikes that I have that are similar. I have 2 of them. This one is great. So for me, it was very early on that I realized I really fell in love with the styling, which of course is subjective, and I really fell in love with the exhaust note. I was convinced maybe I did buy the right bike. And over the years, of course, I've personalized the bike with my own ergonomics I had another exhaust system I made for the bike, which just was a little loud for riding where we ride right now in these nicer neighborhoods. Didn't want to put that to the test, and I still have it. But the biggest thing of all, the radar detector. If you're going to ride a super bike without a radar detector, well, the best of luck is all I can say. Back then, every time Bill and I rode together, I always remember him asking me, "You sure you bought the right bike? You sure you should have bought maybe this, maybe that bike, this bike, or whatever." I'm not sure even today what bike he was trying to steer me toward, but I know this one worked well. And I have seen some of my friends take the advice of somebody they trusted their opinion and bought bike X, Y, or Z. And yeah, it was right for them, but not for the person they were recommending it to. They wanted a bike that either was more comfortable or whatever. I'm not sure. But I know, Joe Roselli, even as many times as I've said it, it's so true. Buy the bike you like and ride the bike you like. Don't buy the bike your friends like. Don't ride the bike that they ride just because they ride it. And it's totally true. Now, one of the few things I had to get used to right away is how quick super bikes wear out the tires. And I've got this set of Pirelli Angels on here that I'm testing, and Vlad recommended them, and they're showing some pretty good wear so far. Now, soon after getting a bike, I went to the AMA race in Millville, got to meet Josh Hayes, very nice guy, got to see his bike up close and personal, and I wanted that nose section to look like his bike. And I searched everywhere. There's no such thing as buying it that way. So I decided I'd make my own. And it actually worked out better than I thought it would, because in the end, I think it's one of the features. Now, there's a lot of little parts that I made for the bike. These carbon fiber covers, among other things, the seat pillion I made. There's a lot of little things I made, but that nose section of the bike, that was a bear to make. That was a real big job. But I think it's worth it. It really sets the bike off in a crowd. Now, I've seen a lot of super bikes that are not real happy on these really slippery back roads with a lot of twists and off-camber turns. But this one, I've got the forks lowered a little bit. I've tuned it to suit my own style and riding area. And every time I stop and take a picture or take some video, I think of those silver wheels. What a big job it was to get to be the way I wanted them. And in the end, I think they really set off the bike really nice. And in the end, after 15 years, I look back and I think, you know what? Maybe I really should take some credit for making the right decision. And of all the little custom carbon fiber parts I've made, for sure, the headlight replacements by the air scoops in the front fairing, those parts were super difficult to make and to get that high gloss finish on. Now, back in 2009, this bike was state-of-the-art. 15 years later, the bikes have come a long way, basically with a lot of safety features, which this bike doesn't have, and the quick shifter, of course, but I still love the look of this bike. And thank you, John Pothia, for finding me those super high intensity headlights. They are just unbelievable, and they fit right in. I was so happy they fit right in. A little pricey, but hey, everything that's good, top quality is that way. And it allows the bike to have the look of Josh Hayes' super bike, and the exhaust covers that I made, those are not Yamaha parts, and the sprocket from Sprox, the heel guards, many of the side pieces that used to be flat black, now I made them gloss black. Big one, the radar detector, of course. Without the radar detector, that would be difficult for me. The side fairing pieces, they have the black inserts, all gloss black. Nothing that I could paint, still flat black. And now, of course, it's time for that boring ride on Route 80 to get home and see what Karen's cooking up. And she's always cooking something. I never know until I get back home exactly what's going to be on the stove. Before I put the bike away for the day, I got to go inside and see. Karen was cooking a ton of stuff when I left the house. She's always making something good. I can't wait to see what she's got. So what is this, meat for the empanadas?
Yes, it's cooked already.
See, I get her flowers every morning. She makes me empanadas every night. Pretty good. Good deal. What is this, bolognese sauce?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, I wonder how it smells so good.
That cooked for 3 hours.
So we had a really great ride. We're going to have something great for supper tonight. As always, Karen always makes something delicious. And the R1, I think I did buy the right bike, Billy. I really do think it's the right bike. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button if you did, and thank you so much for watching.